Thanks for making the list.
Right,
No doubt, no doubt.
we're live now, guys. Let's go
All right.
straight in. Right, what are we starting with?
Josh Kelly.
Josh Kelly cruises to a win over Gabriel Corza, who is an Argentinian guy, and really, since he's moved up to this 154 weight, he looks a lot more comfortable. He looks a lot better. What did you guys think of this performance?
Who do you want to go first? I could take it first.
Okay.
I thought it was a mismatch. To be honest with you, I thought it was a mismatch. I thought he looked good and everything, but I didn't think it was much of a fight. But that's okay, you know. It was what it was. So what do you think about it, Spencer?
Yeah, it was like a stay busy fight, so he could stay active, look good, stay acclimated. I mean, continue to get used to the 154 pounds. So, I mean, I'm not sure what goes on after that. What's next for him?
Yeah.
Because like Charlo's about to fight, the champ's about to fight. What's it called? Who is he going to fight?
Jamel or Jamal?
Charlo, Jamel, the 54 pounder.
Yeah, he's moving up in weight to fight Canelo.
Yeah, so is that going to open up like eliminators for him? Was this an eliminator fight, like a final eliminator or something?
No, it was just
no, I don't think so.
It was just a normal fight. Basically, the situation, he won the British title 2 fights ago when in his first fight at 154. And he's just collecting all the domestic stuff like the European and all that sort of stuff before he fights. Well, they're going to do it properly. Because obviously when he fought Avanasian, they rushed it a bit, didn't they? As you guys remember.
Yeah, he had like a nice looking record, but he wasn't ready for Avanasian.
No, I think now at this weight, if they do it right, he could get a world title fight if they do it right. They do the matchmaking right like they should have done.
Yeah, probably in like 2 or 3 fights, maybe he might get a title shot for one of the vacant belts.
Yeah, he's not going to beat any of the guys at 154. He's not on that. I wouldn't even say beat Liam Smith right now. He's not on that standard yet. But he could
not
be
yet.
if he keeps working.
Yeah, in a couple of more fights, he might be able to be competitive against somebody like a Liam Smith caliber person.
But this is what I worry about him. Once he gets to that level, can he sustain it? Because we've seen some chinks in his arm,
Yeah, once he could very well win the title versus with a good night, have a good night, but then his first defense, he might be facing somebody just as formidable and go out losing or something. Yeah. I get you.
I mean, that's the whole point of fighting different fighters and coming up slower. Yeah. A lot of these guys are getting pushed too soon.
I mean, Eddie Hearn was promoting him at the time. Well, he wasn't. It was, I can't remember who was promoting him at the time.
It wasn't Hearn? Because I thought he was on some matchroom cards.
I think, it was on one of Eddie Hearn's cards that he was. I mean, Eddie Hearn kind of gave up on him once he lost that European title fight. And we forget, Avanasian is a world-class fighter,
Oh, yeah. I mean, he put up a good fight against Bud until he got knocked out.
Oh,
he beat Sugar Shane.
That's right.
The problem with modern boxing is people are in too
So
much
where Josh Kelly goes from here is
he just has to clear up the domestic division. And then we can talk about world title shots in another year and a half's time. Once he's cleared up
fight a few of them domestic people and get some good domestic scrap ups. But will that actually help him on the world stage? You know what I mean?
No, it won't. But what I'm saying is when he was at 140, he was killing himself because he was far too big for the weight. So at 154, he can progress the way he should do if done right.
We're talking about trainers and promoters. What's best for the fighter?
His
right?
trainer Adam Booth is a very good trainer. I mean, he trained David Hayter to a world title, so he can't be that bad to train. Adam Booth.
No, I'm not saying he is, but sometimes the trainer, could say, "Hey, I don't think you're ready," and the fighter was, "I want this fight," and the promoter's pushing it, and selling it to them, and it's a precarious situation, with these guys. But yeah, he should do the domestic thing. Yeah, do the domestic thing, and then take somebody like in the top 15, and then see how you do. It's top, somebody like maybe at 11 or 12.
See how we go.
Yeah, that would be the smart thing to do.
But how many times have we seen him? So look at Ricky Hatton. It took him before he fought for. He was 7 years in his career before he fought for any significant title. That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
but Josh
and
Kelly's
he was a
40 years
solid.
old.
He was a solid fighter, but he couldn't get past Pacquiao and couldn't get past Mayweather.
Doesn't matter. He won the world title. He cleared up what was in his division. Josh, I don't think Josh Kelly will get that kind of one. Yeah.
Well, Ricky Hatton was almost an elite fighter at one point.
You know what? It is what it is. He lost to how many people beat Pacquiao and Mayweather? Hardly anybody beat Pacquiao. Be honest about it.
Well, he lost by 3. I think he had about 4 or 5 losses. 5 losses maybe, and
but they were all to good opponents.
But he had a couple of KOs in his early part of the career. So, but it didn't matter. It doesn't matter if you lose. It's Muhammad Ali lost, Joe Louis lost. These were great fighters. Sugar Ray Robinson lost.
You've got to remember we're talking about modern day boxing where a loss does kind of matter. Unless you've got a good promoter who can rig of easy fights and get you a title shot like a Daniel Dubois. It's all down to promoter. It's clever matchmaking, isn't it? Let's be honest about it.
A loss matters in the sense of if the fight isn't competitive and you get blown out. But if you're losing in a really highly competitive fight, if you're losing a nice competitive fight, then against an elite fighter, you're still going to gain respect.
Yeah, well, look at Wilder. Wilder is an example of that. He's a great fighter, and he lost in a competitive fight, and everybody still wants to see Wilder
because he's a knockout artist. People pay to see. People don't want to pay to see people bringing out 12-round decisions.
Golovkin lost, and people want to still see him fight people.
That's right. That's another example. What? Joshua lost, and people still want to see him.
Yeah, but they were competitive. The fights he lost were competitive, and they were close. There was no, what I mean?
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on this.
About his career being over, it's bullshit. It's how you
hell, Teofimo lost to Kambosos, who got demolished by Haney. Teofimo's an elite guy. Yeah. So, and that was a wash. That seemed like an easy fight for him.
Yeah.
And that Kambosos fight was a tough fight too.
Yeah.
I think we got some good matches coming up, and we got one we're going to talk about soon this weekend, which should be a great match.
Yeah.
Hopefully. But I think we're all in agreement on this situation with Josh Kelly.
Yeah, we'll move on. Before we go to this main event of this particular card, I want to talk about Jermaine Franklin's fight. Did anybody watch this?
I did watch it.
I'm not. I thought it was a good win, but he should be knocking guys like that out. Really, I know
that guy had an unusually strong neck and chin.
He did, yeah.
He did. He was one of those guys. My father told me years ago. Some guys you could hit and they'll go out. Some guys you could bring a bat in there. You hit him in the head. You break your hand. You could hit them all night long and they don't budge. He says some people are just built like that. They got iron jaws.
Yeah.
And that guy was big. He was absorbing those shots. So Jermaine looked good. He was throwing good combinations. The guy he couldn't move the guy. He couldn't knock the guy out.
Well, my only concern for Jermaine Franklin is he has no power. He does have power, but he just doesn't. Mate, like you say, it was the wrong opponent for him to make him look good when it was the wrong opponent.
Well, I don't think he looked bad. What? Because you didn't knock him out, he looked bad?
But to me, he looked like a guy who was a top 35, not a top 20.
I think. Let me interject here. I think that he could beat the likes of a Dylan White at this point. I think he could be that flexible. I think if he could fight some of those top 10 guys and win. But whether or not he'll be a champion is another story.
Yeah.
But he's better than most of those guys. Anyway, what's your take on it, Spencer?
No, I mean he's decent. I mean, I want to like you said, see him test himself against a guy level, maybe Dylan White. I'm not sure how far these other guys would be willing to fight him. Maybe he could get a fight against JP, Joseph Parker, or what's the dude I'm thinking of? Huey Fury, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, he could be a spoiler. That's the problem with him.
Yeah.
He could spoil your plans. So, but I don't think there's anything. I don't think he sucks. I think he fought as best as he could. And the guy was big and strong. He hurt him in the last round. But the guy just was content not to throw too many punches because he was catching too many.
Yeah, sorry, I lost connection there.
That's all right.
Yeah,
we kept it busy. So what's your final take on this then, Nathan?
On Jermaine Franklin?
Yeah.
I think you put him in there with someone like a Dave Allen next, or someone of that sort of level, and then build him up a bit more. Get him in there with someone like Dempsey McKean. I think he'd beat Dempsey McKean. I think he's good enough to beat someone like that.
Yeah, well, I think he's too good for those guys right now.
Yeah, I mean, he nearly beat a washed Dillian White. That's still impressive. And he took Joshua. The one thing he has, the two things he has got going for him, he's got good skill and he's durable. So if he could improve his skills a little bit more, I could see him breaking on the top 10. I thought that fight with White, I thought he edged him actually. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. I thought he got a hometown decision. No, not really.
Anyway, there you go. What's next?
The final. What was it? That Alicia girl. Forgotten the name. So you can tell us who.
What's next?
What?
That Alicia girl.
Oh, Baumgartner.
Oh, yeah, that was a good fight.
Yeah. She got her little revenge. Yeah, that was a decent fight. The guys is mixing it up nice, man. I'm starting to like the fights that they be having because they having best type fights. So
yeah,
and she's the one that beat her early in her career.
I know that, and he had a lot of power, but she was swinging for the fences. She was really putting a lot of power punches out, but she was wide and. Her control, Baumgartner's control and combinations were really crisp and sharp.
Yeah. See Tony Harrison trying to help her, helping her a lot with that.
He did.
Yeah, so.
He did. I was impressed.
I wonder what didn't she call somebody out?
I don't remember. I didn't see the after the decision what she said.
But yeah, what's she 130?
I'm not sure. I thought she looked a little bit bigger than that. I don't remember the weight division. I think it's possible it was that or 140, but she looked really fit too, man.
Yeah.
Really fit.
I wouldn't mind seeing her against Katie.
Yeah, that would be a cracker, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be a good one. What about you, Nathan?
What weight was this at? Was it at welterweight?
I thought it was at 130. I thought super featherweight, junior lightweight.
Well, I don't really know what to think of her. I think she's good at her weight. You know, she should stay where she is, or possibly go up another weight.
Well, did you watch the fight, Nathan?
No, because I didn't deem it that important, to be honest, to me personally.
But I think you should watch it. First of all, it's a great fight. Second of all, you could see her boxing skill, how good it's gotten. It was a tough fight.
Yeah.
The problem with women's boxing is I like to watch, you know, names I recognise. Some of the women's boxers, I'm like, they're not very good. Well,
you're going to recognize, if you watch this fight, I think you'll remember her with no problem.
Yeah, she
this guy can fight.
Yeah. But she gonna stop Maya and was it Maya? No, Harper, right?
Yeah, I think it was Harper.
It was Harper that just knocked out standing on her feet. She just froze her.
I would watch her when she fought Harper. She's very good. She's very good.
Yeah.
Maybe she should go up to 154 and beat Harper again.
I think she should just go forward.
She could probably get a fight against Serrano, maybe against or Katie Taylor. Those are two names that she could get, and that's would be some big fights.
Sure could.
Yeah,
so what's next?
George Kambosos will be fighting Lee. What's his name? Maxi Hughes.
Yeah, for the IBO.
Maxi Hughes, yeah.
Yeah, for the IBO title.
Yeah.
I think it'll be competitive. I give it to Kambosos.
You know what? Based on Maxi Hughes' current form, he's got a chance. He's getting a lot of wins he shouldn't be getting. He's got a chance, you know?
Yeah, well, let's be another one of those.
Could
Kambosos
be. I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but Kambosos should be. But don't forget, Kambosos had 2 back-to-back losses. How's he going to react, you know?
Two? Or I thought he just lost his titles he did Devin Haney twice, didn't he?
Yeah. So
well, I wouldn't hold that against them.
No, would I? But this is a big fight for Max Hughes because he's actually a world level fighter now, I believe. You know, on the fringes.
Okay. Well, Kambosos will be a hard test for anybody.
Yeah, Kambosos should win this comfortably and by a lot of stoppage.
I think so. Kambosos has got a lot going on.
No, but if Max Hughes looks good on the back of this, he could still get a title shot at a vacant title the way he's carrying on. He's just getting better and better, you know. This could be his chance to put a shock in there, you know. It wouldn't surprise me if he won.
Well, it should be interesting. It's tonight, isn't it? It should be going on soon.
I'm not even sure. Let me look.
It's on Australia.
Spencer's gone. So, I mean, I don't know where he's gone.
Maybe his signal dropped.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Yeah. What do you think of the Max Hughes Kambosos fight?
I think it's going to be a competitive fight. I mean, I'm a favor Kambosos in this one.
Me too.
You know, but like Nathan said, he's been looking pretty. Maxie been looking pretty okay the last few fights. He's been winning fights he might have not should have. So,
for me, Maxie,
and he's defending his title
in these tough fights. I don't know what Eddie Hearn's doing. He keeps giving him these super tough fights. I don't understand why. He was on the verge of a title shot.
Yeah, and this other than the IBO title, this is the IBF final eliminator, I think, too.
Oh, right.
So they'll be the winner of this will be fighting for a vacant title once Haney move up.
And that should be soon if he's smart.
Yeah, because he got. Well, we'll see. We're going to talk about it too. What's next?
Yeah.
Steve Fulton will be fighting anyway.
Oh,
Is that tonight or tomorrow night?
That's going Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. That's on Tuesday.
That's one we've been waiting for.
Yeah, I'm going for Inoue to win. I don't think Fulton's strong enough. I know this is a new weight for Inoue. I just don't see how he's going to win.
Well, why do you say that? Based on what?
Based on, we're talking about a man that's cleared the last division so easily, and he could do it again.
Okay.
Steve Fulton is a good fighter, but he ain't the thing. He's still getting better, I think this is the wrong time.
Well, I don't know. Let me say
I'm gonna have to call y'all. I'm gonna be right back, y'all. I gotta answer this call.
Yeah, I don't know, Nathan, because if you look at Inoue, when he fought the Filipino champion, he was over the hill. The guy, he fractured his eye socket. He got beat up pretty bad, and he won because he was a bit faster. Second time around, I mean, Donaire was ready to retire at that point, and was fortunate to win another title, and then he retired, I think, after that fight. So, but then his last fight, he really didn't. The guy he fought wasn't very good, and he just chased him around the ring. Yeah. But this guy that he's fighting,
he's got it.
Pardon me? What was that?
He's a former undisputed champion. The man is a great fighter.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing, but styles make fights here. And I think Fulton's got a boxing style. He's a better boxer, in my opinion. Now, it's going to come down, if he could stand up to the power, I think he can match him in many different ways.
Yeah.
So it's going to we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I'm kind of favoring an upset here with him. So I'm going to go with Fulton because I like what I see in the way he's fought different styles. And I think he can handle this style, and he's not afraid of a big puncher.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it. We'll see. What do you think stylistically? I mean, I know he's considered a monster, but stylistically, have you studied Fulton's style?
I've watched him a little bit. He's good, but I just don't see how he's going to win. This guy's got too much pedigree for him. You're entitled to your opinion.
Exactly. But I got to give it to you. You've been calling them correctly for the past couple of fights. You've been nailing it.
But just you've got a guy who's former undisputed champion who's fighting a guy who's never fought anybody of Inoue's level before. It's going to be a culture shock. What do you think, Spencer?
I mean, he didn't grab no titles from nobodies. He didn't defend his fights against nobodies. He's been fighting world-class fighters himself. So, he's one fight away from being undisputed in his weight class. So
that's right. Yeah.
So it's not like he been fighting competitors or anything like that. This is gonna be a good fight. Now, I believe, in my opinion, Fulton should box Inoue because he probably has a better advantage doing that. But he likes to slug it out sometimes. He likes to prove he's a man too. So
that's what I think. That's what's going to be shocking to Inoue. Inoue is believing he is a monster, and Donaire, even though he was at the end of his career, gave him pause.
Especially the first fight was definitely real close.
Yeah.
So,
I think if he doesn't let him get pushed around and cracks him a few times, he's going to give him pause to be running in. And I think he could do that.
Fulton's last few opponents been better than Inoue's last few opponents. He faced withstanding Donaire. Donaire's a good opponent, but at the second fight, he was already far beyond his best days.
That's true.
Right. Let's move on to another subject even more interesting than that.
So wait a minute. So wait a minute. Who are you picking, Spencer?
Who am I gonna pick? I'm gonna pick.
I'm going with Fulton. Who are you picking?
I'm picking Fulton. I'm going with you.
All right.
So we probably gonna go because Nathan's picked a new way.
Nathan will probably
next
win.
one. The WBC have given Haney an extension until July the 27th to decide to fight Shakur Stevenson or Progress for the WBC. My opinion, forget Shakur Stevenson. He's too bloody dangerous.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, it won't be as competitive. I mean, he got a better chance. He got a better chance against Regis than he does against Shakur, based off of those last two guys' performances, Shakur and Regis. Regis was looking kind of shaky over there in his homecoming fight.
I think any way they go here, it's either one of those opponents will be great. I would like to see either one, actually. Yeah, I think it'll be fine. So I think the stronger opponent is definitely Shakur in this situation.
Yeah, he'd probably be more of a challenge for him.
Yeah, he has more dimensions than Prograis does.
Yeah,
Prograis is pretty much one-dimensional when it comes to what he does. He'll stalk you down and get close to you and bomb you out. That's what he does.
Right, and Haney could probably offset that if he keeps up with the jab and keep Regis at the end of his jab and having to keep resetting when he moves forward. Getting popped by the jab. Where Shakur, he could move forward, or if you try to come at him, he could fight backwards, on the back foot rather.
Yep.
Shakur is good. He's a talented guy.
He's the future.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to. If you're as good a fighter as Haney, I believe the Haney Stevenson fight is a bigger fight 3 or 4 years down the line, not right now.
That too. They could definitely let it marinate until it's bigger. Let Devin conquer 140.
Yeah.
While Shakur conquers 135.
Yeah, Haney hasn't even hit his peak yet, has he? And neither Stevenson.
No.
Yeah, and Prograis is older now, and nobody will object to that fight. Yeah, but nobody will object to it. I won't object to it. I think it's
like if he decided to fight Prograis instead of Shakur, that ain't
Letty thing.
What happened?
Come back again. Oh, it's all right. My thing did it. Carry on anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't think I was saying nobody's going to object to it, either way it goes. So I think Prograis is the logical thing to do at this point. And I think you're correct. Let it come down the road. 4 or 5 years from now may be too long, maybe 2 or 3. People are already clamoring for it. So I don't think it will take that much longer. But 4 or 5 years is like waiting for Mayweather and Pacquiao.
Yeah. Who knows, right?
Who knows what weight they're going to wind up in, and somebody could lose, so.
That's what I'm saying. Like in a few years, they probably would. Haney go conquer the 140-pound division. Shakur go conquer 135, and then they meet up at welterweight eventually.
But in all this, a guy we're going to talk about next, this brings it into play, is Gervonta Davis, a man who is clearly the best lightweight in the division, in my opinion. He'll be fighting in his hometown very soon.
Well, that's good. I mean, and he's not fighting anybody, it looks like so far, that's a threat, because he was in jail for a while. He just got out.
Yeah.
Yeah, his opponent is supposed to be Chris Colbert, they were saying.
Right. Yeah. But you know what's going to happen there, right?
He's going to, what?
It's going to knock him out.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
without question.
But I want that guy to stay out of jail.
I do believe his career has not been managed properly. His career has not been managed properly at all. He didn't listen to Mayweather. He left Mayweather. Now what's he doing? Holding a regular belt.
Well, with the next article, as we noticed, he did something right.
Yes, he did.
Because without, even if his last fight against Ryan Garcia, I don't know what mismanaging is. I don't know how his career could be looked at as it being a mismanagement when this dude's just coming off a $100 million fight.
If he'd stayed with Mayweather,
I don't get it. Like all of that stuff led up to him having this big payday he just had against Ryan Garcia, and you're not going to get super fights every single time out.
No, you're not.
Like even what's it called didn't get million plus buys every single fight out, Mayweather.
But on current form, he's the best lightweight, in my opinion, and he is a little bit better. I mean, obviously Haney and Stevenson will catch him eventually, but at the minute, I believe that the way he's carrying on, his career is going to end up like a certain Mr. Broner if he carries on the way he is.
So I don't know. The main thing is he stays out of trouble. If he stays out of trouble, he's going to make a lot more money. If he doesn't, that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as we were saying, they made a lot of money off that last fight. Because Ryan Garcia supposedly made $30 million.
Yeah, he did. But he could have made a lot more if he'd fought Devin Haney. I tell you.
Who?
Davis would have done. He'd fought Devin
You
Haney.
think Davis would have made more money
That's worth
versus Devin Haney than he did versus Ryan Garcia?
Because Devin Haney was the undisputed champion.
He
was the undisputed champion. If you're the undisputed champion, it fucking means something, shouldn't it?
I think
belts mean anything.
You're not taking into consideration social media.
With him being Latino, obviously that sells the fight even more. A black person against a Latino person sells a lot more, doesn't it? We know.
Yeah, and Ryan Garcia got a big social media following. Devin Haney just fought.
He's a future world champion. He will win a
world. Listen, Devin Haney just fought Lomachenko on pay-per-view. I don't know what the numbers did, but they just fought on pay-per-view. And it's not in comparison to what Davis and Ryan Garcia did.
The problem is Devin Haney is not very good at selling his fights, is he?
Now I think that this next fight would have been a nice fight for Tank Davis to fight Devin Haney instead of Tank Davis fighting Homeboy. But it is what it is. You're not going to get super fights every time out.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah, Chris Colbert, he's not really a threat to Tank, in my opinion. However, he does got the trash talking with him. He could help sell a fight somewhat. And, it is what it is. Because he the one that before Tank fought Ryan Garcia, he fought Hector Garcia. And Hector Garcia beat Chris Colbert. So, it's kind of like, why are you fighting the guy who beat the other guy? Like that type of stuff. But, it is what it is.
Let's move on, guys.
Sure.
We've got a little bit to come. The next one is Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder the biggest fight in boxing?
It could be.
It definitely could be.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, go ahead.
Deontay Wilder ain't got no problem talking crap.
No, he doesn't. But Joshua, here we are, a man who is scared of his own shadow against B-level fighters, who runs around the ring like a black Klitschko, who's scared of his own shadow, fighting against a guy who can knock people out with one punch but has no real skill. This fight is a marketing dream.
Yeah.
Well, you know, he talks about fighting the best. Is he fighting the best? You know, he fought Usyk, which is definitely the best.
Usyk's a great fighter.
One of the heavyweight division, and then he fought him twice. Then his last opponent he handled very well. So, you know, but if he wants to fight the best, he should fight the former champ.
He's too vulnerable to fight someone like Wilder. I'm sorry to say, he needs protection from himself in this fight. Do you understand? This is Wilder has fists made of lead. It's not.
If he's got supernatural power.
But what would be a nice seller if AJ could knock Dylan White clean out in like 1 or 2 rounds, spark him out, knock him right out, and then the hype will be back.
Yeah,
the hype will be back behind AJ's power.
But if he goes 12 rounds with Dylan White, then he is not the fighter. He's lost it.
Yeah, he shouldn't. In order for this fight to be big like they want it to be, he has to knock out Dylan White.
That's right.
But for me, I don't want to see Joshua fight Wilder because he'll get his head cleaned off in 1 or 2 rounds. It won't end well. If you're Eddie Hearn, you've got to be thinking about long term. Joshua's got another 3 or 4 years left, right, at a certain level before he steps down to that Chisora level. He needs, you know.
I think Eddie Hearn is smart and he knows exactly what he's doing.
Well, if he takes the Wilder fight, it's a cash-out fight, and it'll be the last fight he ever had, in my opinion.
But he hasn't taken it all these years, you know. Why would he do it now? If he can make more money, I mean.
Is there any value left in him?
I agree. I agree with you. That's why I'm saying
if he keeps fighting people like Jermaine Franklin and White, that sort of level, the guy who's shot and the guy who's a gatekeeper, he can keep making money for another 4 or 5 years easily and making easy money. That's what I think. And then wait for a vacant belt, not take a fight this risky. I would love to see it.
I think Eddie Hearn is going to protect him as long as he can and keep him away from Fury.
A 4th loss, a bad knockout. Obviously, more people will fight him, but it's just going to expose him even more. I don't see.
Well, he's only been stopped once.
Yeah,
you know,
but he wouldn't last 3 or 4 rounds of Wilder. I'm telling you.
Hey, as a fight fan, I want to see it.
The fight I want to see is Usyk against Fury.
You have the top
not Joshua get his head cleaned off.
I want to see.
Yeah, Fury.
I want to see Usyk versus Fury. Yeah,
those 3.
Yeah, and either one. Well, I want to see Fury versus Wilder again, but
Wilder would be a better fight. But that would be great. How could Usyk dodge those bullets for 12? No.
Yeah, that would be a decent fight, I think. Like I said, if AJ wants to fight Wilder and want to make it big, he needs to knock Dylan White clean out, impress the people, and then it'll sell much more. If he goes the distance against Dylan White, people are going to be like, nah, he ain't got no chance against Wilder. But if he could, like, look good and put some combinations against.
Yeah. But if he goes to 12 rounds with White, what they will do is they'll keep matching him with people like Jermaine Franklin, you know, until he gets his confidence back, if he ever gets it back.
Yeah.
Well, you know, here's the bottom line. You got those 3 guys there right now. Those are the 3 guys that will determine who's the best heavyweight in the world. So somebody's got to fight somebody sometime.
Yeah.
And that's about it. You know, it's like who's gonna step up and take the chance. And I think Fury is willing to. He just wants money.
Well, I don't agree with either of you. Sorry.
On what? We both agree with you. What is it we don't agree with you on? Are you there, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and argue with you, mate, about it. Yeah,
we're not arguing. We agree with you.
Okay.
Both of us are agreeing with you.
Yeah. The next fight. Let's talk about the next one. Abel Sanchez has said that Triple G went out without a whimper.
Went out with a whimper. Abel Sanchez, in my opinion, has been sour grapes for a long time.
Oh yeah.
You know, I don't listen to what he has to say about Golovkin. You know, he blamed Golovkin for the second loss to what's his name, to Canelo. It's like, you know, what about your responsibility in training? Well, he didn't do it. Yeah, you're not in the ring. You know, you're not in the ring absorbing that stuff and having stuff coming back. And he almost had Canelo out in the second fight, in the 10th round. He had him staggering. So what is he talking about?
Right,
you know,
Spencer, give your take on this. You're probably better explaining this than me.
I'm thinking it's the way he's not fighting as much. Because if you really go into deep depth with an article, it's like he's saying, like, you know, he had big fights. He was fighting 3-4 times a year. Then he got the Canelo fight, and then he's, you know, he lost the fight, but then he decided, okay, I'm gonna go back, and he won the IBF belt. He unified and got the WBA belt. He said, you know, I'm gonna be defending my titles. I'm gonna try to become undisputed at middleweight. Canelo they get the opportunity to jump up to 168 to fight Canelo. They do that, and then he's like, he gives up all his other titles without any type of defending them like he said he would, and you know, like that's what I think Angle is alluding to. He's not having no big fights in you know, at the moment. He was chasing Canelo.
Well, look, the guy is what, 40 years old?
Yeah.
You know? And his style of fighting, the way he absorbed punches, how long do you think you could do that? You know?
Now
and plus he had a long amateur career as well.
Yeah, he had you know, he don't want to take too many hits to the head.
And how could you blame the guy?
Yeah. I mean, the competition at middleweight, it's kind of, you know, tough for him because he would have had to fight his countrymen for the WBO title. He would have had to face what's it called, Laura, to keep the WBA title. You know, so
no, I think he did the right thing. He had a good career. His career was managed perfectly before he fought the top guys. After the Lemieux fight, his career went perfect. I can't knock him, you know, really.
And he got like 50-60 million to fighting Canelo, so hey.
And he broke what's his name's record, middleweight record. Did he beat Hopkins' middleweight record? He didn't.
No, he didn't. And it's so funny. It is really funny to me that people want to acknowledge they want to acknowledge Triple G breaking B-Hop's record or whatever, but don't acknowledge the WBA world title to anybody else. Like he had for 10 of those fights of the 20 defenses, he was the WBA world titleist when there was a WBA super titleist, you know, when there was a WBA super titleist.
Look, before he fought Lemieux and won the or whoever he fought and won the WBA, I mean, when he won the WBC, he was more or less handed that title, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, Golovkin vacated. I mean, Canelo vacated and he got it. But
But when I look at his career, I can't knock him. He took the opportunities when he could. He made a lot of money. He was a very good fighter. For a guy whose defense was pretty awful, you know, he did well.
Abel Sanchez is just sour grapes, man, as far as I'm concerned.
Triple G's legacy probably isn't as good as a Sugar Ray Robinson's or a Hopkins, but it stands up. And it's not as good as 100, but it stands up. He's one of the top 10 middleweights, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've always enjoyed him, and he fought hard. He fought well. I mean, give the guy a
Yeah, it's
break.
just
He's 40 years old.
yeah, yeah. Right now, he's past his thing, but during the come up, there was a lot of fights that it would have been intriguing if he would have not
Oh
been
yeah,
chasing Canelo.
That's right. Yeah.
There would have been a
well,
lot more interesting fights if he would have not been chasing Canelo.
He could have fought Charlo, the middleweight Charlo,
yeah.
He could
at
have
some
fought the
point,
middleweight Charlo. He
and
could have fought
Andrade.
Laura. He could have fought Andrade. He could have
Yeah,
fought Billy Joe when Billy Joe was down there at 160.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think he
There would
would have
have been
taken
a
Billy.
You know
Billy
what? He
Joe would
was
have been easy. for him.
unified champion twice, and that's impressive.
yeah.
Right, let's move on to our final thing, and then I'm going to talk about something else afterwards. The IBO want full recognition. It says here. What was this? Let me have a look. There it says here. You read the title.
Yeah, they want to be recognized as one of the to be recognized like the WBA and the WBC and them guys.
The problem
Well, what do
is
they need? What do they need to do it?
money, innit?
Like-
I mean, for me, the biggest names that have had that belt is Triple G, obviously Klitschko, Vladimir Klitschko, and Lennox Lewis. Surely they would have taken the title more seriously back then when Lewis was champion 20 years ago. I don't know why they didn't.
They gotta do fights where it's only that title on the line
Yeah,
and against one of those big names, like say
yeah. But they don't have mandatories. They don't enforce mandatories. Their rankings are done by boxing, computer rankings. They always have. And they are the only organisation that are not corrupt like the IBF were for in the early 90s for the Pride.
they
Carry on.
no, go ahead.
I think what they need to do to be taken serious, like you said, have title fights on their own with about like have someone like Anthony Joshua fight for a vacant IBO title. Like when Larry Holmes got given the IBF in 85. So
Right, exactly.
Just as a funny
funny
aside here, it's like the New Jersey Mafia versus the New York Mafia. They were never taken seriously.
Yeah.
Brooklyn looked down on them.
Can I give you another example of this? Obviously, the WBE, the British version. Remember in the 90s, George Foreman had the WBE belt, and so did James Toney. I think it was like 94, 95. And the nobody took the belt seriously then. But George Foreman made 2 defences of that world title. Didn't he? He made 2 defences.
Yeah, like you said, they really should have some type of eliminator to be cut. I mean, that's how they would have to do it. They would have to get like a name, like an Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder would be a good fight for them to try to sanction.
It would make sense. IBO Bridger belt, But for me, the success here is like the WBU were relevant in 2007 in Britain, right? Then we got rid of it. We were the only in Europe. There was only about 6 countries that took the WBU belt seriously, and that belt, the IBO belt, was a stepping stone title.
They need some really colorful champions they could call their own. You're right. That's what would do it.
Yeah, they would need
good guy to advertise this. Ricardo Magoya, the chain smoking madman.
Yeah. Mayorga, he's a riot.
I mean, Eubank held the belt. That didn't do anything. But I don't know. What do you think, then?
No, we said it. Like they would need a named fighter to claim it. Eubank had it if he would have. His pops was definitely bragging about him having that belt. So.
But it was the same with the WBO, innit, in the late 80s and early 90s. Eubank thought he was a legitimate world champion, but nobody gave a fuck about the WBO belt when Eubank Senior was champion. It didn't mean anything. really, you know.
Yeah. Well, look, I think if they gave a break on sanctioning fees, and like, let's say they had somebody of Pacquiao's, really elite fighter, exciting fighter, and they made it very attractive for them to stay there and not go after the other titles, then they could start building interest when other people would want to fight their fighters.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I mean, that's the thing about the WBC. They have a bunch of guys who covet that belt.
Yeah.
They covet.
But they've been around for 70, 60 years, haven't they? And the IBO's been around since 1991. They should have been further along the line by now. I mean, the IBO was only created 5 years before the IBO. It took them a good. It wasn't until 2006 that people started.
They really got the recognition. Yeah.
I just remember when Larry Holmes dropped his belt and picked up, what was it? Was it the IBF belt?
Yeah.
It was the IBF in like 83 or 84, something like that.
84,
That's how that happened, because they gave him a better deal. And that's what they need to do with these guys. Give them a very attractive deal, and then just keep them there and let them destroy everybody in their division, and then have them match. People will want to match with them to make money. Get these big.
For me, the IBO belt is worth more than that bloody WBA regular. It's what it should be, but it isn't. If you class the WBA regular as a world title, I mean, I do, but very loosely.
Right, I understand. That's what needs to be done, and I think we're all in agreement on that.
Yeah.
I think for sure they need to do that. They need to make it attractive. I mean, give them the title, give them the belt. Don't charge them like 2% sanctioning fee or something. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just build it up.
Yeah.
And then the new guys coming up, you charge them more. That's the way you build it.
But Usyk has the IBO title. He could push to make that mean something. He could make that mean something.
It only means that he's undisputed. That's what it means to him.
If Tyson Fury was given the belt, then I think people would take it a bit more seriously. If he fought, sort of the guy.
Yeah, well,
they got to mention that that title is.
But
they got to
really
promote it.
believe the IBO should create an IBO super title and a regular IBO title just to start it off. You can have someone like Anthony Joshua fight someone for it.
In my business, in the music business, right? When you have people that want you to, front for them their products, endorse their products, you give everything you can to them, especially in the beginning. You're giving stuff away just to secure somebody like such a high profile drummer like Buddy Rich or somebody.
Yeah.
And then give them everything they want and advertise the hell out of it.
What hurts the IBO is when you've got guys who nobody cares about. Like there was a British guy called Richard something. He was a black guy who was super middleweight. I can't remember his name. But he beat some guy from Colombia and nobody cared. Eddie Hearn said, "I'm not going to call it a world title. Why should I?" Yeah.
Listen.
The British
Nike did it with Michael Jordan. They put a lot of their money behind Michael Jordan to help build their company. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all of the because Converse is the basketball sneaker at the time. Nike came in, gave Michael Jordan all that money, said we'll pay the fines for you wearing our sneakers and all of that. And it became really popular. And then now all of the major sports stars want to get a Nike contract.
They do.
That's right.
I mean, my brother bought a special edition Nike pair about 10 years ago. I mean, everybody had them back then, didn't they?
Yeah, so it's you gotta, like Tom said, you gotta be willing, give him the bank at first, but give that big name a bank because he's gonna help promote your brand, and your brand is gonna explode after that.
And all he has to do is fight and win in a dramatic fashion. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
But another way they could promote the IBO title is have a tournament for it. Get a load of fighters together, have it like the WBA did for the heavyweight belt.
They have like a World Boxing Super Series just for the IBO belt.
Who was the guy who won the first WBA belt? I forget his name. Ernie Terrell, that sort of thing. like the WB had in the 60s.
Yeah.
Muhammad, and that was short-lived once Muhammad got his hands on him.
Oh, it was, yeah.
Mhm.
But I mean, anyway, I'm going to move on to something else. Dempsey McKean and what's his name? Philip Hergovich has been added to the Joshua Undercut.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's a good fight for Hergovich. It's a fight he'll win comfortably.
Well, we want to see him. So I think it'll be a good one, too. That's a good one.
I mean, he's the IBF mandatory. You know, I was thinking at this point, the way things are going, that Usyk would have got stripped of that belt, to be honest, the way things are going.
No, not yet. Not yet. He's played ball with them, you know, with the whole Joshua rematch, and everybody made tons of money. As long as they're making money, they'll bend the rules.
But this fight with Daniel Dubois, I think it's a crap fight. I really do think it's a bad fight. Dubois not ready for that level of opponent. He's already been exposed by a guy who's one level below.
Well, you're right. And you're talking about Joyce?
I'm talking about Dubois.
Yeah, but you being exposed by Joyce, is that what you said?
Yeah. So,
well, that's for sure.
Exposed again. Even worse this time.
Maybe this is his best shot, you know, to cash out at this point. I mean,
has anybody seen anything else in the news recently?
It'd be crazy if Daniel Dubois clipped Usyk and knock him out.
I would laugh if it happened. I'd laugh because I don't think it would. You know, I don't think it would.
Yeah, I don't think it would either. But
Let
me see.
We'll wrap up now.
Wait, hold 1 second. Let me see if there's anything pending that came up on Fight News. No, it's just, you know, we got Spence coming up, Spence and Crawford. There's a lot of
I figured we was going to talk about that next week.
Yeah, and Fury and Nagano, you know, and Fury versus Nagano. We talked about that already. And Ennis looked good against Villa. That was really good.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that. Ennis is knocking on the door now of greatness.
Yeah. Boots.
It up.
I think he's gonna fight Stanionis next.
That'll be nice. That'll be a tough fight.
Before you guys go, I wanted to start doing another show, possible a midweek show, if we could get it in. If we miss one Friday, we could do a midweek show, or a Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday or something.
Well, yeah, we could probably work that out.
Would you want to do that, or do you think it's too much? Because we're pretty infrequent with our show.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Whatever y'all decide, I'm cool with y'all with that.
I think we need to try. I mean, we try and stay. What's the word? Let me just turn the book. I think it's always hard to get